Hello, my name is Captain Benjamin Daly. I'm going to be the East District Commander.
Hello, I'm Edward Nestor. I'm the West District Commander.
Hello, my name is Captain Pietro Veltri. I am the South District Commander.
Hi, Joe Santiago, North District District Commander. All right, welcome.
Hey guys, what's up? Nice seeing you all here today.
Very good seeing everybody.
So what's Eddie, what's going on new in your district, man?
Well, in the district, we want to go over our numbers, or we want to go over...
No, I know you got the body camera thing going on now that just started, the pilot. You got a pilot program?
Yes, we started a pilot program a month and a half ago, and as of today, I spoke with Lieutenant Freddie Rodriguez, who's done an excellent job. He's basically in charge of the body-worn cameras for the West and pretty much for the city, but the only district within the city is the West District that's putting the body-worn cameras out. He's going to take it to all the different districts. Next, he'll be going to see you, Joe, in the north, and then I think from there he's going to east and then to the south. But right now, one of the things that was great, we had a target date of May 1st to have everyone camered up. We've actually hit that date now. Right. Today, we have everyone within the district, every tour going out with the body-worn cameras. There are a few people that are off on vacation because this is a big week for vacations. Those people haven't been officially trained, but the supervisors and the police officers, day tour, evening tour, and midnights are all wearing the body-worn cameras, and I think it's a great thing that the Jersey City Police is doing.
Wow, that's great. I'll tell you what, I know, listen, they're coming to my district soon, obviously. It's going to be all over the city. You have any issues with your cops? Like the cops were good with the camera? Like, you know, I mean, it's something new, you know, it's something...
I'll tell you what, we're going to go over our numbers later. When I started giving out the cameras, we gave a talk about how it's going to let our police department be more transparent with the community. And that's one of the things we're really trying to put forth with Chief Kelly and his vision of this police department is building these trust and relationships with and partnerships with the community. This is one thing that I think will really help us in that. So this way, we'll always have a camera involved in these incidents. So when we do have complaints of any sort of police misconduct or any other issues, we'll be able to address that pretty easily by watching the video and seeing what goes on. And if there were some training things that I need to change, we'll be able to train. And if there's discipline that needs to be administered, we'll handle that as well. But I think it gives us an opportunity to give us and give the public that trust back within the police department. One of the really surprising things was when we gave them out, I thought that we might get some pushback. You know, now you're wearing a camera, you're going out there. Right. But to show the professionalism within the West District, the officers actually led all other districts in arrests, in summonses issued, and in city ordinances issued, which shows me that they not only embraced that they're in the body-worn cameras, but they're continuing to do their job. So very impressed with all those guys.
Wow.
How long have they been wearing the cameras?
They started a month and a half ago, but we started out real slow. Initially, we only had 2 officers from the day tour wearing them, and then as they would go out with them, we trained additional officers. Like I said before, Lieutenant Freddie Rodriguez and Sergeant Johns, the 2 of them worked together in getting each person trained. They've switched their schedules and accommodated the evening tour and the midnight tour. Luckily, my executive officer, who's not here today, but Lieutenant Kevin Cott, basically wrote the policy. And when he became part of the West District and working directly for us, he was really instrumental in keeping it and moving it and answering any questions that Lieutenant Rodriguez had or Sergeant Johns had. Right. And he also worked at them. He's another one who switched his schedule around. And they came in some midnight tours, some stayed late on evenings and came in early days to make sure that the proper supervision and the training was given to these new cops as they go out with these body-worn cameras.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I mean, listen, I mean, that's some great stuff. And I'm really excited for when it does come to the South Precinct. But as you guys probably know already, like I got different things going on in my precinct as far as crime. I mean, unfortunately, South Precinct is probably known as one of the most violent areas of the city. So we have some of the most crime. So what we have done in my precinct was roughly about 2 years ago, we identified 4 areas of major concern, like a hot spot, if you want to say. And what we did, we manned those hot spots for 24/7. So around the clock, 24, 7 days a week. And what we did, we put fixed posts on those 4 areas, which are Wilkinson and Ocean, Wilkinson and MLK, Wade and Warner along MLK Drive, and Wegman and Ocean. And we manned it 24/7 for 2 years now, and it's been tremendous. I mean, we were riddled with shootings and violent crime, and I tell you what, in those 2 years, our numbers have come down dramatically. I mean, just now, year to date, compared to last year, we're at a 70% less of shootings. So it's been tremendous, and I tell you, I gotta take my hat off to the cops, because they're the ones who are doing it. They've been awesome. We're working under, like you guys know, I mean, it's just ever-changing landscape of policing that we're dealing with. We got the social media now that we didn't deal with as young cops.
Right.
But now these cops are dealing with it. So it's always changing, and they've been tremendous. It's been great, and it shows in the numbers.
Well, I have to agree with you, Pete, because at the end of the day, when I look over the districts, and when I just took command over in August of last year, when I went to roll call, I knew 2 officers. And I've been on 25 years. And to know only 2 officers was a little upsetting to me, but it showed me that even in my day tour, the average officer was only around for less than 3 years on the job. And that's pretty amazing that we have these guys going out, doing their job. And I also have to praise my sergeants and my lieutenants that are out there working with these guys, because they're going to these calls with them to try to help them get through. Right. And I have minimal complaints from the community, which means everyone's doing a great job. And they're out there, and like I said, the numbers don't lie at the end of the day. With the amount of arrests and the amount of tickets being issued, I expected some more pushback from the community. But one thing we do monthly is have a community meeting. We do it the first Wednesday of every month, and we do it right out of the precinct, so we can expose any of these issues that if we're having some confrontation, before something blows out of proportion, we're able to address those issues and concerns that the community might have.
Have you got anything from the community about officers wearing their body cameras?
Nothing really.
Nothing
no negative or positive in regards to that. We haven't had it. We also let them know, to the officers, I want you to let these people know when you stop them, you're on camera. It kind of alleviates a lot of stress. If they're going to act in a certain way, maybe be a knucklehead for that day, it kind of keeps them off that. It also lets the cops know, hey, I have my evidence right here if something does happen.
From our end, it's been nothing but positive.
As for right now, it's been nothing but positive. I truly expected some pushback, and I haven't received it.
Good.
Cool. Now I know you guys hit on it. I mean, Ed, you hit on it. Joe, Ben, what do you think? We have a really young department, right? We had a lot of young hires. I mean, how's the district dealing with that?
Well, why do we have such a young department? We went through a hiring freeze back in 2004, 5, 6, around those years. So we didn't hire. And then, there was a big hiring back in the early 90s. So all those guys are coming up for retirement, and they're leaving in droves. So now we're trying to catch up, and we're trying to replenish the troops by hiring as many officers as we can. It's a process. Yeah. So, we do see a lot of new guys coming in, and we're losing all that experience. It's somewhat difficult to train them as quickly as we want to, but the fortunate thing is Jersey City, you get the training right away. You're answering many calls every day, and you're learning on your feet. So it's a good process for that. All right, break time.
The Jersey City Medical Center. You know it for its award-winning, life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub, with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together.
Voting by mail has never been easier. Just follow these steps to ensure your vote will be counted. Open your envelope. You will find your certificate, return envelope, and official ballot. When casting your ballot, use only a pencil, black, or blue ink, not red. Completely fill in the oval to the right of each selection. When writing in, do not repeat a name printed on the ballot. If torn or damaged, your vote will not be counted. Fold your ballot and place it in the pocket of the certificate before sealing it with the adhesive strip. Do not detach the strip and paper from the certificate. Fill out the required information on the certificate and don't forget to sign. If you are not mailing or delivering your ballot in person, make sure both you and the bearer of the ballot sign your name and address on the certificate and return envelope. After that, just place it in the mailbox and your vote will be counted. For more information, you can visit our website at www.hudsoncountyclerk.org or www.hudsoncountyNJ.org.
Eddie, something I wanted to ask you. The program for the body cameras since its infancy hasn't been around too long. Can you see a difference as a district captain as far as from when we didn't have the cameras to after this month? Like, is there anything that you are doing differently for those body cameras?
No, we're keeping on the new officers that have them. We want to make sure that they're properly trained, and if they have any issues. And in doing, it's new to all of us. It's new to me. I never had them. So we talk about how to turn them on and turn them off. They have to hit them twice. They hear the sound. The thing goes on. And through a policy that was written by the chief of police, and helped by Lieutenant Kevin Cott and Lieutenant Freddie Rodriguez and Captain Ortiz, Ray Ortiz, they kind of put together this policy, and having the new hires follow this policy has been really good. One of the issues with the body-worn cameras is they're pretty much always on. Now, they don't record audio unless you hit the button twice, but once you do that, and they're supposed to put it on whenever there's a call for service. So if they get a call for service, then the way the policy reads is they call back on the air to let them know they're going there, and then before they get off at that call, they have to turn the mic on. The mic then gives the last 30 seconds before that the video, but the audio begins once they turn the recording on. And then they have to leave that recording on until the entire call is over. So they have to then go on the air with dispatch and explain whatever, even if it's an advised call or if they're taking a report, whatever. Once they finish the call, they then go on to dispatch, and then they shut down the camera till the next call they get.
We got a copy of that policy, and it's pretty lengthy. It's about, 15, 20 pages?
Right.
It's a lot.
I don't have it with me here today, but yeah, it's at least.
I mean, I reviewed it.
I think it's 32 pages, actually.
Briefly went over it. But that's a lot to remember for these new guys that are coming on, because you're getting floored. You get on the job. I mean, we all studied. We know the books. They stack up to about 2 feet high, all the stuff that we have to, we're required to know. 2C, AG guidelines, case law, and now you add, body camera, and then you put it into practical use, all these things. It gets a little difficult.
That's why I can't believe the response I've gotten from the district and how positive it's been. I figured I'd have a lot of pushback. One of the things in going into that is now when they go into a hospital, a medical facility, a drug treatment center, they have to shut them off. They can't have, there's patient privilege there that we can't go on. If they're going into schools, with the school setting, you have to shut it down for the juveniles within the schools. Courts, you have to shut it down. You go into a house of worship, you have to shut them down. That being said, if there's a fight within that church, if there's a fight within that school, they're to be left on. That's due to our policy to make sure if something does happen within that facility, it's on tape, and then the police officers can have an accurate response to what they did, and they can pull from that when they're doing their report later on, so they can have an accurate, and it keeps everything transparent within the community.
Right.
I'll tell you what, the body cameras are great, but now that we're on the topic of cameras, I think it's important that we mention the CCTV cameras that the city put all over. I mean, they're everywhere. I know in my district, I have them everywhere. I think the city did a great job with that as far as starting phase 2 of the operation. It started way back, 8 years ago, I think we started putting these fixed pole cameras all over the city. And obviously a lot of the cameras over the years weren't serviced. I think this administration did a great job. I know in my precinct especially, they replaced some of the older cameras, they added new cameras, and then they added cameras on top of that in areas that we didn't have them. And they're being utilized by all the different street crime units, and even myself. I have a live feed that I could use at my computer, and I have a feed at my at the front desk where the desk lieutenant could actually pull up almost any corner in the precinct and see what's going on there. I mean, I can't. It's been such a valuable tool for me, and I think some of these other districts. I know the West has some.
No, I haven't. I have the same capabilities as you do, and it's been great in the changes. And now I can I can get a call sometimes at my office for a disorderly group on a particular location. I can look at it and dispatch it right from my office to the officers to get there.
Right.
I think one of the key things that the city did, and it goes back to the administration doing the right thing, is the director's office, John Sable, who's retired captain from our job, who worked with me in street crime, he called. And he wanted to know the opinions on where we want these cameras, where the hot spots are.
John's been great with it.
I think that's a huge deal that they actually reached out to us. They didn't just put cameras up and figure out where they got them. We also, from our community meetings and the concerns we get from the community, we also voiced them to John Sable and to the director's office, and they were able to put those particular cameras, and I think in great spots. And look at us now. I think that with crime going down, the shootings going down, we kind of helped ourselves.
Man, leaps and bounds. It's just another valuable tool for us. I know we use it. And Ben, I know you got the pedestrian plaza. You got the cameras set up there?
We have cameras in the area of the pedestrian plaza, a few along the exchange place. The cameras actually that we have a partnership with the mall. So we have like a mutual link to where they can basically send an email to us, our phone, and we can go on that link and actually look at what the mall sees through their cameras. So we have a lot of things going on through OEM. Director Kies, actually helps us with a few things with the cameras. So it's a lot going on with the cameras.
Yeah, man, that's cool. And I know it obviously came real valuable when you had the shooting in the mall not too long ago.
Yeah, so, and logistically, they're working with us to actually get that top notch. That's one of those things we learned a lot from the mall experience, to actually have it to where we can move forward to bring things to our emergency service unit or any other department that comes and help us. We can have it right there on your phone. Technology has brought us a lot further than where we were 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah. How are you, Joe? Cameras?
Oh, yeah, technology's our friend. It's helping us out more than,
No, you have them anywhere? You got them on Central?
You know, we rely more on, private home security surveillance footage and, the businesses that have their cameras. There are a few CCTV on Central.
Yeah. But, I'll tell you what, that's another thing I want to say. Just for any citizen, we have utilized those Ring cameras or any of the private security cameras.
Right.
We use them all the time. So I think it's real important that we actually let the public know. I mean, it's a valuable tool for us as law enforcement to be able to go to these people, if a crime happens in the area. I know just recently we had a mugging. I mean, it was a violent mugging of an 80-year-old woman in Country Village, and that's what brought these two perpetrators to arrest, because we were able to utilize the cameras from these private citizens, and we got a great shot. And it was nice that we were able to arrest two criminals for doing such a heinous crime.
That's tremendous.
An 80-year-old woman. So it's just a valuable tool. The cameras have come so far for the purpose of law enforcement. Yeah, it's awesome. I guess with that, we're going to tell our audience we're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Introducing the MyJCMC app, powered by Practice Unite. The free MyJCMC app puts the power of healthcare at your fingertips. Go to the concierge for access to referrals, scheduling, and appointments, see emergency room wait times, and get directions to Jersey City Medical Center health locations. Read the latest JCMC news through their social media feed, find a doctor, and more. The MyJCMC app. We belong to you.
Hudson TMA reminds you that if you are going to ride your bike after dark, you must wear the proper attire.
Can you see me? How about me? It's more difficult to ride at night, but if you have to, make sure you can be seen.
Check this out. I'm wearing white, but it's not enough because I'm still difficult to see.
No matter what time of day you ride, always wear bright clothing. But at night, you really need to wear reflective or retroreflective gear. If you don't have any, buy some retroreflective tape and put it on your shoes, your jacket, and your helmet. It helps reflect light back to the driver of a car.
Make sure your bike has reflectors.
And you need a headlight and a tail light. That's the best way to get noticed in the dark. And it's the law.
Remember, the sooner a driver can see you and recognize you, the sooner they can react.
All right, so hey, listen, I know we just recently got our CompStat numbers. We had a little issue. Obviously, we went to a new computer system. We were working through the kinks, and we had a little problem getting our CompStat numbers. But finally, yesterday, we had our CompStat meeting, our first one for the year, and we went a few of these numbers, and maybe it would be nice to share with the public. I'm just going to run down a few in my precinct, and then I guess we go around and share, and we can share our thoughts. So for our aggravated assaults for the month of March, we had a total of 35, and last month we had a total of 17. Now, obviously, the people are going to say, everybody's going to think, wow, man, that's high, right? But I just want to say, with that, we had a total of 13 arrests also. And obviously, you guys know, maybe the public doesn't know all the time. I mean, with the aggravated assault, it's a strange thing because a lot of these victims don't cooperate. I mean, I'm sure it's, you guys deal with that too. So it's hard to solve a crime when the victim doesn't want to cooperate. They'll report it, and then they don't want to cooperate later on. So it's hard to solve when you don't have help from the victim. But that's what I got my aggravated assaults. Now on our burglary, right? I had this month I had 7 commercial burglaries, and I had 1 the previous month. I mean, that happens in trends too sometimes. Like I'll have months where I have none. Right. But then we have, a crew of guys that are out and they're hitting the bodegas at night. The laundromat, they're going in, stealing change, they're breaking into the machines. So I did experience a little bit of that this month. My residential burglaries were flat. I had 11 last month, I had 11 this month. But with that, we had 12 arrests. So we had 12 arrests to offset that number. So you know what? It's listen, any burglary is a high number. I hate for anybody to be burglarized. It's personal, but we did have some success with at least filling it with arrests at the end of those burglaries. What other number I'd like to share here? So we had robberies. Our total robberies for the month were 4, and we're down 2 from the previous month. So that's a good thing. But with that, since January, we had 17 robbery arrests. And again, the robberies go the same. I'm sure like every other precinct, you have victims that cooperate and you have victims that don't cooperate. So it's hard, you get a hard solve rate. But 17 arrests since January for robbery, tremendous. Just tremendous work that our cops are doing and our detectives following up on it. And just another number that I'd like to share is the total arrests for the South Precinct. So this is just the month of March. We had 185 adult arrests, and we had 14 juvenile arrests, bringing us a total of 199 for the month. Now, again, I don't love the fact that we had to arrest so many people, but it just shows the public what we're dealing with. We do have a high crime area, unfortunately, but the cops are out there, they're doing their job, and I think it's just tremendous. And with that, you made 200 arrests, and what I'm really proud of is that not one shot was fired. I don't think we hear that enough. Not one bullet left our cops' gun, and I think that just speaks volumes for the work that the cops do.
Tremendous. I'll go over my numbers now if you want.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving along.
Well, I had a question. In your arrests, are those including narcotics arrests that are made by the narcotics units?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, it includes.
That's what I was always trying to figure out. You guys, you always have a lot of arrests in the South.
No, that's a big chunk because unfortunately,
well, the South and the West, we have a little crime issue that we have to deal with.
Those
it's a little different than the North and the East, but I think it's a valid point. What you're saying is you have definitely a greater number of officers within those districts too, working to combat that with street crime and other things. One of the going to the numbers here with aggravated assaults, we had 9 this past month. 9's too many, but once again, in dealing with the particular part of the city we're in, I'm not happy with the number, but I'm happy with that. Out of the 9, we made 3 arrests of 4. One of them didn't even qualify with us. The Savior unit's taking that one. We had 3 victims that were totally uncooperative. And one of the things I'm sure you guys do and I do is work along hand in hand with our district commanders. Not the district commander, the detective commanders. Yeah. Lieutenant William Mazlewski is phenomenal. He is on top of it. You guys have sat with Comstat with me, and you watch him. He puts on a show. He takes a lot of heat off me. I wish he was sitting here. I'd try to get him to come with me, but since this is the Commanders, he didn't have to come. But one thing he sends to me is, and these are the numbers I like to get out to the public, when we do with arrests, he deals with if they get the arrest, but not only that, if the victim was uncooperative, because he kind of gives us an idea that this is a particular thing in regards to some of the robberies. When we go with robberies, we had 8. We had 2 arrests. One of the robberies that's part of this 8, the victim was actually lying about it because they arrested him on another thing later. It still goes as a number as a robbery, but even though we find out later that wasn't. But I like to know those things just for me because we feel a little bit better that we're getting the individuals that need the service, we're providing them with the service. So we're making sure they get the investigators there. The West is filled with great detectives, and they've done a wonderful job in combating this. I also have the commercial burglaries. We had 4, and they made an arrest. A lot of times with the commercial burglaries, it's the same guy doing a few different places. And same with the auto burglaries, which we had a ton of here. Let me just see here. I think there was 26 of them. And 26, we got 4 arrests. We have two of those investigations. We have prints out of. One of them we got DNA. Now that's probably going to be 3 more arrests, but those 3 arrests could be for another 10 different auto break-ins.
I'll tell you what, and just before you move off there, what I like to hit on, I'm sure you guys could all agree, and what I want to get out to the public. A lot of these car break-ins are because you're leaving your cars open. You're leaving your cars open. Please, 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 I plead with you, lock your doors at night. Lock them, and that could avoid a lot of these stats that that we have that are going up. But it's very important. I think you guys have, I'm sure you deal with it all the time. The cars are being left open for whatever reason. You know?
You got somebody walking down the street trying to door handle
winds up breaking. Right. On that last note, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Hudson TMA reminds you that before you ride, you should perform the ABC Quick Check. Here's how to do it.
You don't want your bike to fail you, so get in the habit of doing the ABC Quick Check before you ride. A is for air. Check that your tires are properly inflated. They should be pumped up to the inflation rating printed on the tire. Many bicycle pumps come with a pressure gauge, so you can make sure they're properly inflated. Low-pressure tires can easily puncture. B is for brakes. Check that your brakes are working. Your brake lever shouldn't come closer than a thumb's width to the handlebar. Your wheels should spin freely when the brakes are off. C is for the cranks, chain, and cassette. Grab both crank arms like this and wiggle them to make sure they aren't loose. Spin the pedals and make sure the chain runs smoothly through the gears. Quick means making sure your wheels are on tight if you have quick release wheels. The wheels should be snug in the dropouts and the quick release lever fastened tight.
Hudson TMA reminds you that whenever you are out on your bike, there are several things you must remember to stay safe.
That means when you ride in the street, ride in a straight line with traffic on the right side of the road. Riding against traffic is dangerous. It puts you where the driver of a car isn't expecting you.
Meaning he might turn in front of you, or worse, into you.
And you know what that means.
Ouch.
And if you're riding with friends, always ride single file. And here's something else to remember. Always obey traffic lights and signs, and pay attention to lane markings.
When you see one of these, stop. When you see one of these, yield. Traffic might be coming from one side or the other.
Now, since your bike doesn't come with turn signals,
use your hands.
But always check for traffic before you turn. Do this to turn left, this to turn right. Also, some states allow you to do this to turn right, and do this to stop.
For the North District, these are numbers that I read off to all the community meetings for the previous month. So these are the North District numbers for March. Total adult arrests, we had 68. Guns recovered, 0. I got the stats for the North. Total guns recovered for 2019 is 0. Shootings and shots fired incidents, we have 0. Stabbings, we have 0. So that leaves us, that covers our violent crime. And let's move on. So our moving violations. We had 1,032 that were issued in March. Parking violations, we keep track of that. It's 520. City ordinances, there were 36 city ordinances written out. That brings our total for March is 1,588 summonses for North District. We're not getting many reports of violent crimes or crimes in general. We got a lot of petty, disorderly stuff, thefts, shoplifting, simple assaults here and there. But for the most part, when I get out to the community meetings, I'm getting a lot of complaints about traffic. We're heavily congested with throughout Kennedy Boulevard, Palisades, Central Ave. The opening of 139 helped a little bit, but with all the construction and the traffic heading to New York, it's always going to be heavily congested. But yeah, it's a lot of traffic.
Yeah, no, I drove by your district. It's a traffic nightmare at times.
Yeah,
I don't.
It's tough in the morning, and especially now with school in, it's that rush hour morning traffic is it's hard to get across the city.
How do you handle the school traffic with all the people dropping off and double parking? It's got to be tough.
You got to have a lot of patience, because you get the folks that just can't wait, and they cause even more traffic. And it's tough to, you don't want to punish everybody who's trying to make it to work or get their kid to school,
right?
Because the roads are narrow in Jersey City. So where are you going to pull these folks over? Sometimes you got to make that stop right in the middle of the lane, and that's causing even more traffic. It's a lot to consider.
Yeah, not only that, they're there to drop their kids off a lot of times or pick their kids up, and we want to convey a positive message, about school rather than make it a hassle for them or have them end up with a ticket with a single mother dropping her kids off. So
so our urban area schools don't have those pick up and drop off locations like somewhere out in the suburbs they would have for a school. Right. They're pulling right up to the school or on the corner and dropping their kid off, and unfortunately, they're causing delays behind them.
Coupled with all the construction you got going on, I know. I could understand. I think we all deal with the school traffic. We all get the complaints, but I'm sure you get it in the East. You're dealing with a lot of traffic.
But you got to realize in the East, I think we're probably the most populated area in the city. When you take construction, traffic, schools, everything else, it's the perfect storm.
Yeah.
But with the police officers that we have, the traffic units, Lieutenant Snee, he's a big help to me down in the East District. His guys come through and they do a lot for me. There's a lot of things that we actually combat, but we get it done. The East, we have the police officers. They're really helpful, and they do their best to actually get traffic and everything to somewhat to a certain point. How can I say? It's under control, but if you would talk to the public, they would say it's not under control. But again, we have so many different. When you look at the people who come from another city, like as far as from New York and the traffic that's coming in through a daytime, I think our population probably doubles in the East District, maybe even triples.
Well, you got a lot of commuters. They commute in New York, right? They're working.
The commuters, that's one of our biggest issues. And then as far as when you start to look at the lights and different things, we have so many people. I don't think that it was designed for this many people. And so we're steadily expanding. It's one of those things that we have to actually just try to keep up with.
Right.
Yeah. That's about it. With the traffic detail, I got Officer Kevin Hill. He's out there, going to the complaints that I recognize, or, I get the information from the community meetings, and he hits those areas. But basically, you could set up anywhere in the city and write tickets all day. But, I try to explain, at the meetings that won't necessarily make a difference, because the second that a uniform officer isn't there, there's always going to be somebody doing the same thing, running the stop signs, speeding, whatnot, not letting pedestrians cross, U-turns in the middle of the street. So, we handle it when we can and what we see, but it's hard to, cover, how many miles of roads do we have in Jersey City?
Yeah.
It's difficult, too, I'm sure, downtown with the bike paths now, right?
Downtown with the bike paths, that's one of the things, because you still have bikers, which I would like to say, people, don't ride your bikes on the sidewalk. That's a problem. That's what the bike lanes are for. It's one of those things that we have so many different things. The city bike is a great thing that we have right about now. A lot of people are utilizing it. And most of the people who actually use a city bike, they do the right thing. They drive in the lanes that are made for them. Right. But you still have the people who, they are cumbersome to other people. They want to drive on the side, ride on the sidewalk, and you got people with carriages. Just be mindful of other people.
Yeah. Listen, we could probably go all day with traffic, but Ben, I'm sure you probably want to get to your CompStat numbers.
Yeah. My numbers, I will tell you right now, the biggest problem that we have in the East is theft. Mainly because we have the mall. There's a lot of things down there as far as you got the mall, BJ's, Target. So that'll be like, and even besides that, when you look at like the residential, that's one of the things, because again, we all have a problem with Amazon packages. What I would tell people to do is utilize those drop boxes. Those are good things or whatever. If you're having a problem with people stealing your packages, they do have Amazon drop-off locations. That's a choice. Yeah. But getting to my numbers, we have, let's see, what's one I would like to point out? Auto theft. Previous month we had 4, we had 10. Reason we have that is to what you alluded to earlier, Pete. People, lock your doors. Don't leave your keys in the car. It's more of a thing as far as most of the ones we have people who get out the car with the car running. That's not something that you should do, but you'd be surprised how many people actually do that. That's like a big thing, is keys in the car. Burglaries. We actually went down with our burglaries. Let's see, last month it was 16, this month it was about 11. So that's a nice reduction. And I have to give credit to our burglary unit. They make a lot of arrests. They know the people out there, they know the players, they watch people, they follow them, they do a very good job. And even our East detectives, they've cleared up a bunch of cases. So that's something that, like Eddie said earlier, I would like to have a few of our guys to give them the credit that they deserve and have them here. My patrol officers, they're good police officers. They're out there. They're paying attention to the guys. We got a lot of young, hungry guys who they make a difference, in my opinion. Let's see. We have our robbery totals. Our robberies went down, and that's mainly because we actually do make arrests. It was 8 last month, and this month is about 3. At this point, I'll tell you like this, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. Give me a moment. We're going to be back, and we'll talk some more.
Hudson TMA reminds you that a bicycle is considered a vehicle. When you ride a bike, you must obey the rules of the road.
Ride single file in the same direction as traffic. Obey traffic signs and signals. Signal your turns and look behind you before you turn. And always stay alert.
Hudson TMA reminds you that if you are going to ride your bike after dark, you must wear the proper attire.
Can you see me?
How about me? It's more difficult to ride at night, but if you have to, make sure you can be seen.
Check this out. I'm wearing white, but it's not enough because I'm still difficult to see.
No matter what time of day you ride, always wear bright clothing. But at night, you really need to wear reflective or retroreflective gear. If you don't have any, buy some retroreflective tape and put it on your shoes, your jacket, and your helmet. It helps reflect light back to the driver of a car.
Make sure your bike has reflectors.
And you need a headlight and a tail light. That's the best way to get noticed in the dark. And it's the law.
Remember, the sooner a driver can see you and recognize you, the sooner they can react.
Hudson TMA reminds you that before you ride, you should perform the ABC Quick Check. Here's how to do it.
You don't want your bike to fail you, so get in the habit of doing the ABC Quick Check before you ride. A is for air. Check that your tires are properly inflated. They should be pumped up to the inflation rating printed on the tire. Many bicycle pumps come with a pressure gauge, so you can make sure they're properly inflated. Low pressure tires can easily puncture. B is for brakes. Check that your brakes are working. Your brake lever shouldn't come closer than a thumb's width to the handlebar. Your wheel should spin freely when the brakes are off. C is for the cranks, chain, and cassette. Grab both crank arms like this and wiggle them to make sure they aren't loose. Spin the pedals and make sure the chain runs smoothly through the gears. Quick means making sure your wheels are on tight if you have quick release wheels. The wheels should be snug in the dropouts and the quick release lever fastened.
Wow. Hey guys, listen, I know we talked a little bit about new hires, but what about some of our retirees? I mean, I think we've all experienced some. I think some that are near and dear to our hearts. You know, good people that we've already lost, good people that we're going to be retiring now soon.
Sure.
And you know, let's
definitely. Before we end today's segment, we Lieutenant Christopher or Krista.
Chris Felix.
Felix.
Well,
but
Felix,
it's
a boxing champ.
Yeah. Christo Felix.
Awesome guy.
Yes.
I mean, I think everybody in the room,
he's
right?
Gone.
No one ever
He just ran the Christian Boxing Academy that he had, and he had that event at Hudson Catholic where he had the amateurs come in from New York.
Tremendous event.
NYFD, Union City, North Bergen. He had some. He had people from the medical center and a few of our cops in the North District that were fighting as well.
Yeah.
Really good night out, and I saw you get there.
I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, that's always a good time. We're gonna miss him.
All right.
And howdy down in Texas, Chris.
Yeah, Chris will be a tremendous loss.
Christino.
That's right.
That's it.
right.
Christino Felix.
But yeah, I mean, I think we've all had a few, right? I mean, I just lost one of my clerks, Doreen Daly, 26 years of service. You know, somebody's tough to replace. You know, we're losing these people, these seasoned veterans, and they're hard to replace. We got a lot of young people, but I wish them all the luck into retirement. I got guys like Craig Kudiak, 32 years.
Yeah.
32 years. I mean, he's going to be sorely missed, man. I can't say enough about him. Mark Shaver, Ray Keoghan, Detective George Santana, and then of course we had a couple, our deputy chiefs, captains like Neil Donnelly. Oh man,
Captain
awesome
Dave
guy.
Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say a bad word about them. They were always there for you, supportive, true cops.
Yep.
One of my, in my opinion, 25 years, the best detective that was on this job, Brian Rabbit.
Right.
What a wonderful job he did for the West. True professional. Even going to some calls with him, once in a while the kids from the neighborhood say, "Oh, you got NYPD with you," because he looked so squared away as opposed to some of the disheveled.
I'll tell you real quick on Brian Rabbit, man. He was my training officer when I came on. I mean, what an experience. I mean, you talk about somebody professional. Right. I mean, this guy, again, uniform was always manicured perfectly.
Perfect.
He had the perfectly trimmed mustache. He had a nickname, Skull. So, Skull, happy retirement, buddy.
We'll miss you, pal. And you're going to...
It's funny, I can actually add on to Brian. When I first got promoted to sergeant, I met him, and he actually was intimidating because he was so sharp. He was so sharp, but I actually learned a lot from him. And it's funny because I was already promoted to supervisor, and I learned from him just coming to the West. And I would say he's probably one of the guys that actually made me get to the point where I'm at now. It's a few guys on these jobs that have, they leave that impression on you. He's one of those guys that when you meet him, whether it's at a call, whether you're a victim, whether you're just a new police officer, when you see him, he leaves an impression on you, and it's always a good one. If you think of the TV detective, he's that guy. So he just really, he was a big loss when he actually left.
Yeah. And listen, again, and I apologize if we miss anybody personally, but a lot of good guys, right?
We also had one of the detectives everybody knows was Eddie Dolan. And his retirement, he throws the best golf outing to this day, and hopefully he still runs it. It's just one big party, and everybody has a good time. And it's good once in a while to have the cops let their hair down and enjoy themselves, and he really used to bring a lot to the table. He's done a lot in his career for the community, and he always did the walk for Fallen Brothers. He does it at Liberty Park every year, and he really will be missed as a contributor to the Jersey City Police Department.
Captain Kenny French, he was the previous North District Executive Officer.
Yeah. Yes.
Another guy, basically grew up with him. Through the ranks. So
that's right. I worked
really
narcotics with Kenny. And with it.
I would actually like to go off. And another one, we had a civilian just retire out of my office. His name was Russell Rico. He actually 25 years as a police officer, which is actually really crazy because, I say this to the new cops. For me, one of the most esteemed things is to be a 25-year patrolman. A lot of times we aspire to do different things in policing, but it's something about when you see a man who wears the uniform straight through his whole career and he respects and does it the correct way. Yeah. So when I look at Russ, he did 25 years as a police officer, then he did almost 25 as a civilian, and he worked in the East Clerk. So to have somebody here, when I first got here,
50 years with the police
50
department.
years with the city of Jersey City and the police department, and he actually did the job well every day. Russ came in every day. He beat me in. I don't know how he got there, like 5 o'clock. He was actually just one of those people that a genuine person. You don't come across a lot of people like
How many
him.
complaints do you ever get from him?
Never got any complaint, anything from Russ. I mean, at the end, he'd nod off here and there at the table, you know, but it was something you got used to or whatever. But when I tell you his job was done correct, everything as far as reports, everything was put in. He was one of the good ones. He's somebody that you're not going to see someone like that for a while.
Lastly, one of the guys from the West that used to call him the gentle giant, very quiet. He used to go over to Lincoln High School and work for me, Gary Watson. And the guy never said a word. Worked for me, never had a complaint, only did police work, never asked me for a thing. And then when on a day's retirement, he came in with his 2 daughters, and we had all the officers in the West line up, and we had one of the officers play the bagpipes for him, and he saluted him on the way out along with Detective Rabbit. And it really touched him, and it made a big thing. And he's like, I can't believe you did that. I was like, I can't believe you did 25 years with us and no complaints. It's pretty amazing. But he's a gentle giant. Hopefully he's enjoying his retirement. But it's
you know what's interesting to see is that all these guys that left and the things that they did, it's amazing to see these new officers come in and how they're developing and see who's going to fill those roles and do a good job, if not better. And I've seen it already.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, we're very lucky.
Definitely.
We're very lucky with the new crop of officers.
Yeah, listen, I'm sure we could go on all day. And again, I apologize if we missed anybody. I'm sure we did. We missed a lot of people, right? A lot of good guys retired, a lot of good women retired. But you know what? Now that we're talking about the retirements, when we got some of these new hires, right, that we got right now in the academy, right? We have a class of 50.
Yes.
We have a class of 50 that went in January, and I think another class of 40 that went in February.
Yeah, so we got 90.
So we got about 90 people in the academy right now, and you know, we're definitely, the city and the department is definitely looking forward for these young men and women to graduate and join the ranks. You know, I know it definitely was the last group of recruits that we had that graduated. I got a bunch of them, you know, and great young men and women. You know, I mean, we had to replace all these guys that we lost. Unfortunately, you know, I mean, you hate losing them, but it's going to happen, you know, and so now we got to replace them, and I think the city's doing a great job with replacing these guys as quickly as they are.
Well, one of the things Chief Kelly's allowed us to do, too, is keeping them trained. So when they come in, and these new guys come in, and we try to inspire them to come to work and do their job, one of the main things is when they have some questions and they have some concerns about getting certain things done, they put in for different trainings, and we're allowed to send them to those trainings.
Yeah.
And I think that's helped a lot in letting them get more confidence in themselves, knowing we care about them.
Well, with that, listen, we'll be right back after a few minutes.
Voting by mail has never been easier. Just follow these steps to ensure your vote will be counted. Open your envelope. You will find your certificate, return envelope, and official ballot. When casting your ballot, use only a pencil, black, or blue ink, not red. Completely fill in the oval to the right of each selection. When writing in, do not repeat a name printed on the ballot. If torn or damaged, your vote will not be counted. Fold your ballot and place it in the pocket of the certificate before sealing it with the adhesive strip. Do not detach the strip and paper from the certificate. Fill out the required information on the certificate and don't forget to sign. If you are not mailing or delivering your ballot in person, make sure both you and the bearer of the ballot sign your name and address on the certificate and return envelope. After that, just place it in the mailbox and your vote will be counted. For more information, you can visit our website at www.hudsoncountyclerk.org or www.hudsoncountyNJ.org.
The Jersey City Medical Center. You know it for its award-winning life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub, with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together.
Introducing the MyJCMC app, powered by Practice Unite. The free MyJCMC app puts the power of healthcare at your fingertips. Go to the concierge for access to referrals, scheduling, and appointments, see emergency room wait times, and get directions to Jersey City Medical Center health locations. Read the latest JCMC news through their social media feed, find a doctor, and more. The MyJCMC app. We belong to you.
Hudson TMA reminds you that a bicycle is considered a vehicle. When you ride a bike, you must obey the rules of the road.
Ride single file in the same direction as traffic. Obey traffic signs and signals. Signal your turns and look behind you before you turn. And always stay alert.
Well, guys, listen, I think it'll be real helpful if we start going, maybe give the public a little bit of information how they could help us. You know, some of the things that they could reach out to the department, and because, you know, I always, at the meetings, I always get people, hey, well, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? You guys do so much for us. What can I do, right? So one way I know, listen, just right off the bat, an easy one. We have a tip line. So I'd like to share that with everybody. It's 1-855-JCP-TIPS. All right, anything like that, and any kind of tips that you can help us out, call that line, leave a message if you don't get anybody live. Another thing that I think I hit it before, and I think we all hit it, lock your car doors. You know, that's one of the biggest problems that we, you know, it's a small problem on the big scale of things, but it's a huge problem because a lot of people leaving their cars open.
And take your keys when you leave your car.
Right?
So 6 out of the 10 car thefts we had in the West, the keys were in the car.
Don't leave the valet key in the car. People, you know, the criminals are looking for that. Yeah, I tell you, another thing is be more vigilant. You know your surroundings. You know, people kind of get lax, you know, because they're used to being someplace and they're just not paying attention to their surroundings. You know, look to see who's coming around. You know, that's always a big one. As far as house burglaries, you know, cameras, we talked about it, Ring cameras, any kind of surveillance camera.
The deadbolt.
Deadbolts on the doors.
Most of our burglars are getting in with a flathead screwdriver.
Right.
Or their license or a credit card or something, just slipping that door handle lock.
Yep.
A deadbolt would stop more than half of them.
Yeah, windows. I worked burglar unit.
Lock your windows.
For a long time. You know, the burglars go into the windows, leaving your windows unlocked. You know, put pins. You could put pins on top. If you have the wooden frames, you could put small little pins on the corners. Put a nail through it so you can't raise it up. You know, things like that. Air conditioners, window air conditioners. You know, it's another point of entry. They like to kick the air conditioners in, secure that, brace it.
Well, one of the things they're doing in the community on Monticello Avenue, they got together, and one of the community meetings we had, they all got together with the Ring doorbell and shared that within the neighbors themselves. I've also put myself on that using the West District as my location so I can get those feeds from them with the videos. One of the funny part was we had the owner from the Ring to try to sell a particular item to the Jersey City Police Department. When he put the video in that he was showing to show how you can catch a burglar, it was one of the burglars that this group from Monticello Avenue put together and we wound up getting. And how it worked was they called myself on my office phone. I answered the phone. They said they had this guy on video. One of the officers had the Ring on his phone. He was able to get the video in real time, and they picked the burglar up a block away. And this really helped, and it's use of technology, and I think that's one of the things we're starting to do now, is utilize the technology out there. Yeah. And with the community, we can make a big difference. And bonding together, Michelle Massey's one of our community leaders over on Monticello. She runs the Jackson Hill group, and her office is right on Monticello, and she gets a lot of people in, and she'll give me a call when certain things happen. Yeah. And this way, we work together to try to combat these issues and get it out in front of it before it gets too big of a problem where then we have a rash of burglaries or something like that.
Yeah. Lighting on your property. As far as securing your property, keep the area well lit. Also, one last thing that's always kind of overlooked, I ran a lot, you know, when I did the burglar unit, when you're securing your doors, your main entrances, the door hinges, they have short nails, they have short screws in them. Put 3-inch screws in there so it holds the hinge, because the burglars like to they'll kick the door right off the hinge. stuff like that.
One last thing with the talk about lighting within the neighborhoods and in the surrounding area, even street lights. If your street light doesn't appear bright enough or it has that yellow tinge to it, take the number down, call it in. We have a very good relationship with PSE&G. They'll come and they'll change those lights for us, and they'll make sure that we're lit up. We're doing that right now with a group out of the junction, and they're coming in and they're changing the lights. PSE&G works real well with us, and once again, they have to know the problem, and it helps them. They have 1 million poles around. If you give that number of the pole, we can get it to our people and make sure that they change that.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I can tell you another one that's kind of overlooked. A lot of the common themes I see when I speak in my community meetings, it's more of a communications thing. Communicate with your neighbors, know your neighbors.
Right.
You should be able to speak to each other and kind of know what's going on in different things. With the advent of social media, that actually brings a lot of problems. And this is something that a lot of people look over. If you put your travel locations out that you're not going to be in your home, you don't know who's on your page. So me, generally, I try to make it to where I'll put that I'm on vacation when I'm back.
Yeah.
A lot of times you have different things. Your neighbors know who belong in your house. They know who doesn't belong in your house. So a lot of times we don't speak to each other. We come in and out the house. Someone may see a stranger on your porch and they don't know who it is. Generally they would call, but if they don't know anything about you, they don't know who to expect there. What we get in a lot of districts, people walk up and down the street ringing doorbells. They ring the bells to see who's home, and they kind of that's how they case your house to see if they're going to come in or not. If your neighbors know they don't belong there, then they know when to call. So it's a big thing as far as it's something that we've gotten away from, especially when you come to the social media. We kind of pay attention to maybe Instagram, Facebook, or whatever it is. Know your neighbors. It's not like it's a bad thing to actually somewhat know who they are and be able to know, oh, he has 2 or 3 kids. Maybe this kid doesn't belong in the area. Maybe the family members, something. You can actually talk to each other. Communication in every aspect of what we do is the biggest thing, which is why we're doing this show, is to communicate with the public, with each other. Yeah. We all express our opinions between each other and I learn from all 3 of these guys. So it's different things. If we wasn't communicating, I don't think we'd be running as smoothly as we are.
Yeah. So like Ben said, it's not always the best practice to put everything on your social media. It could be both your friend and it could be your enemy. So be cautious of that, right?
That's true.
I think that's, I guess, we hit a lot of good points. Maybe we could talk about some of our events coming up.
I got one event. I don't know when this is going to air, but this weekend, Saturday, April 27th, between 10 and 12, corner of Hutton and Central, we're going to have a drug take-back. Going to have a table out there with a tent and an officer. Any prescription pills you have, tablets, pill forms, this and that, unwanted, unused, you want to get rid of them, come to Hutton and Central between 10 and 12. Drop it off to Officer Matt Ramos. He'll be there. And also 24/7, and this is every district now, yes. We have a drug take-back box. It looks like a mailbox. It's right in the, when you walk into any of the districts, you can come in anytime and drop off your pills. If you don't know what to do, just ask the desk officer. He'll help you out. I would say, if you want, you can take off the names off the prescription bottles and whatnot. But yeah, anything that you're not using, you don't want, and you don't want to get in the wrong hands. I know a lot of people are concerned about it being environmentally friendly. You don't want to flush these things down the toilet or down the drain. So we'll dispose of it. Just come into the districts and we'll take care of it.
Yeah. Just real quick before we go to break, we got the torch run. It supports Special Olympics. June 7th, starts at Secaucus Road and JFK Boulevard. Come out and support the kids that support the Special Olympics. Well, folks, thank you for joining us today. It's been my pleasure, and we'll see you next time.